Welcome back, everybody, to Pro Football Enterprises. I'm Ben Parker, joined as usual by Austin Freed and Shane Ratliff. We are proud to present another offensive lineman to you. I really enjoy doing this. We haven't hit as many offensive linemen this year as I wanted to because we spent so much time focusing on the wide receivers and on the defensive front seven. It's not because I don't love the offensive lineman. I really enjoy every second of it. So, Jennings Dunker from Iowa, 6'5", 315. Shane, we're going to start with you, man. I think you love offensive linemen just as much as I do, if not more. So take it away.
And this is one of my guys that, talent wise, maybe not in the top echelon, but if you're looking for a guy that has all those O lineman traits in the dictionary, Jennings Dunker takes those off piece by piece. First of all, anytime you talk about him, you have to talk sheer appearance, flowing red mullet, mustache, a diet that borderlines on garbage disposal due to having to keep his weight up from a pretty athletic guy. Um, I think when you talk about his play, the most important thing is the violence at which he attacks defenders and his drive once he latches on. I think he does a great job on first contact and then going to the second level. Uh, like I said, he's violent. A lot of people are going to talk about the nastiness to his game. When you talk about like pound for pound strength, I think he's up there. I don't think he always does a great job of demonstrating that though. Like his play strength doesn't demonstrate all the time because I think he gets overextended a lot because he's in such a rush to try to make the pancake block. So he'll reach sometimes, and then he doesn't always have his base below him. So there are bigger guys that are capable of throwing him off because he doesn't come as a full package on every block. Um, I think it showed at the combine. They picked on it a little bit about his 40. He didn't have a terrible 40, but for a guy that more than likely on most draft boards they're going to move from the tackle position probably inside. Um, I think he doesn't show great range of motion. Uh, doesn't really get going. It doesn't have a great first step. Doesn't have great second closing speed. Um, his biggest weakness is his pass game, which he doesn't really look bad when you watch it on film, but when he goes against premier guys as a tackle, it demonstrates, and that's really why they've talked about moving, kind of jumping him inside. He's a guy maker model where you talk about, hey, we'll push him in. He can play guard at the next level. He can play center at the next level. All around, pretty intelligent guy as well. That's come through in the interviews. Has a good personality. Um, I think if there's one guy in the draft that's really happy that Gray Zabel had the year he had this past year, including winning a Super Bowl, I think Jennings Dunker is right up there on the fan club list. Um, I'll be really interested to hear where you guys think he is draft wise because he's a guy that hovers. Because I think it depends on who you has of an offensive line coach and what your team's run game scheme is. Because I think some people will have this guy extremely high, and I think other guys will go, we can find somebody else. Pretty much any level of the draft we're looking at, even free agency.
Shane, a lot of what you just said is going to be in my notes. I'm curious to see if Austin comes up with anything different or if he's going to largely see this player the same way. So, Austin, take it away, man.
Yeah, and I mean, hands up, y'all are just better evaluators of linemen, of offensive linemen, than I am usually. I have my hits every once in a while,
Yes.
uh,
Yep.
but generally speaking, not my forte. But what I did see out of this guy, I was I don't know, okay with it. He passed muster at like everything, but like didn't really excel anywhere. I did absolutely see the mentality of someone that I would want on my offensive line, but just left a little bit wanting in most categories. Specifically, his pass pro just never really wowed me at all. Like he would get pushed back a lot and then like kind of barely hang on. He would anytime he got like a stunt against him, it feels like it took him too long to sort of recognize that and make the correct adjustment. The one game I actually saw that I was sort of impressed with his pass blocking was Penn State, and they had some pretty good edge rushers, and it seemed like maybe he was just more locked in for that game or something. I don't know. But that one surprised me, and it showed me the potential, and it kind of brought me back on him a little bit more because that wasn't like the first. If that was the first game I watched, maybe I go into these whole all these other ones with a different attitude. But I watched that one at the late, and it kind of brought me back as a run blocker, I thought has the opportunity to get to the second level, that is like the best tape of him is just using his sort of athleticism against linebackers. Because as you said, Shane, I and I don't know if you like research this at all or not, but like he definitely seems like the type of guy who, if he were not playing football, would not be a massive human being. Like he's a 6'5", obviously,
Mhm.
large, but like he would not be nearly 300 pounds if he was not playing football. Not by even a long shot, I don't think. I think he truly has that thrust upon him by his career. Uh, and I think some of that shows, especially in his vert. Like he jumped 33 inches, I think, at the combine, which for a man who is like 320 pounds, that's an impressive thing to do. I think it's like 90th percentile or something like that for the position. So, yeah, I think he very clearly has some athleticism to his game. And I honestly would love to see him slim down. I would love to see him move to center and slim down. I think that truly could be the best thing for him. And flame me if I'm wrong on that. I don't know, but like I've seen a lot of really athletic, not just athletic, explosive is the word I would use. Explosive, more lighter framed centers have like sustained success. So that's sort of where I would want to go with Jennings Dunker if I had the opportunity to, and he showed the willingness and potential to do that. I would be willing to do that. A couple negatives I had on him. Just really bad pad level a lot of the time. Just stood straight up, specifically on pass pro reps. Almost like he was like expecting the guy to be there like way before he was, and would kind of get out of posture, which is a really aggravating thing to watch for me. That's one of my like sort of nitpicky things that I hate to see. Let's see. The other one is I thought larger uh, pass rushers actually had more success on him, even though he has such a large frame, which is another one of the reasons where I think, hey, let's just like lean into this athleticism he's got. That's pretty much all I had. I also put sick mullet in my notes. I don't know if y'all had that as well.
No, I didn't actually mention that specifically.
Okay, that was like the first thing I wrote.
Mhm. Mustache is high quality as well.
Yeah, it's hard to see in the helmet, but when I finally got on there and saw, I was impressed by that as well.
All right. Austin, excellent work. I really especially like your note there about him being a little slow on the stunts. The stunts from time to time, being too slow to that. Not something that I put into my notes until you said it. So it's in there now. Uh, I've been telling the audience, I've started telling the audience what tape I'm studying, just so they know. I always watch the highlights of a guy first when he's at his best. I want to see what that looks like. So watch that. The 25 Penn State game I watched, the 25 Wisconsin game I watched, the 25 SoCal game I watched, and the 25 Oregon game I watched. I've almost quit watching them play against inferior opponents. I almost don't care anymore. I've just started going straight to the heavy tape on most of these top prospects. Here we go. This is my kind of player. Okay. This is a great building block for my team. or for any NFL franchise. I really like this guy. I thought good technique. I felt like he's the kind of guy who would be committed enough to his craft to truly master it in the NFL. I don't feel like this is a lazy guy or a guy that's just going to kind of shuffle through. I feel like whatever technique he hasn't already hit, he at the NFL level when he's full-time pro, he's really going to devote himself to that. Strength, I love it. He seems to have upper body strength as well as lower body. Now, Austin, you mentioned the high pad level. I agree. It's not as high as a couple of guys that I've seen in the past that I really, really, really hated how high they were. But yes, he does play too high. There are times I wish he could get lower, but maybe that's just not what he's going to be able to do. But Stout, I didn't see him getting bull rushed successfully very often as far as actually being able to get thrown back into the quarterback. He does get pushed, but I didn't see successful bull rushes where he's all the way back in the lap of the quarterback. Rarely losing strength battles. Shane, you mentioned it. He doesn't use the strength probably as often as he could or should. I'll talk on the lunging later because I did see that too. But I like the strength here. I think he's got plenty of it. Pass blocking can be beat inside, not cleanly. He'll usually still get some kind of a chip or a slowdown on a guy, but he can be beat inside. Guys can cross him over and beat him to that inside move. I saw that more than once. Having said that, he generally holds up in pass blocking. It's not great, it's not pretty, but generally he's able to keep the guy off the quarterback, and that's a big difference. I can't tell you how many tackles that I hear people talk about, and their pass blocking looks really bad. And I'm like, well, I would just never want that guy to play tackle for me at the NFL level. If he cannot at least hold up in pass blocking, I'd much rather shove him inside the guard. He holds up in pass blocking. It's not pretty, and there are times he does get beat, but generally speaking, he's holding up, he's getting the job done. So I like him fine at right tackle as far as that goes. Can be beat off the edge by the smaller, quicker edges. I think that I saw that in the Wisconsin game is where I noticed that more than once. They can accelerate past him, not on the first step necessarily. That's not where they're getting past. It's that third and fourth step. You can kind of see them motoring past him like a race car on on a turn, right? You can just see them zipping past him at that point. Again, though, it's not usually clean. They're not usually just straight up beating him clean. He's still getting a hand on, a chip on, a slowdown, something, and yeah, but they can still get past him. Gets a little tight end help, not a ton. I always look for that too. How much their own team trusts them to hold up in pass blocking. He got some tight end help at times, but it wasn't a lot. They generally allowed him when not running the football. Iowa runs the football a lot, but when they're not running the football and not bringing in tight ends for that, they're passing. They trusted him to hold up. Run blocking, very good. In gap blocking, creates a hole and seals it well. I liked that. I thought he did an excellent job of that. Zone blocking, he stretches it out well. He does a good job driving his player. One of y'all already mentioned that. He does a beautiful job driving his player off in one direction, just really can take him off the map sometimes. Once he latches on, gets a hold, in the zone blocking especially, he can just really drive a player off to one side. That's tremendous. When he gets to his guy at second level, gets a clean helmet on helmet, he does a great job sustaining those blocks. One of you already mentioned him at second level. When he gets to the guy, he can really latch on even at second level and just do a tremendous job holding that block. Now, last category, athleticism. Sufficient but not extra. Often seems surrounded by better athletes. So I thought that was an issue at times. There are several instances of him lunging and missing on run blocks. I mean, there's quite a few of those. Shane, you mentioned that. That could suggest average arm length in his case. That's really not the case. So that can be an inability to get to quick players on time. Okay. Sometimes these faster players, they're gone by the time he gets there. So, he's lunging, he's reaching. They're just not there anymore. And he's just not fast enough to get to them. While he's totally comfortable on zone stretch and second level, he can't pull all the way across the line. A lot of times you'll see the elite tackles or guards, tackles, I guess, really pull all the way across the line and make a block here on the other end. He's just not fast enough to do that. He's not going to be able to do that ever. So don't look for that. But still, the lunging missing at times is an issue. I came up with a solid second round grade on him. Shane, you liked him better than I did back last summer. because I was like, hey, this guy's okay. I need to see a lot more. I felt like I saw more this year, and he was already a good prospect, but I've got him middle second round now. I like him at tackle. I'm totally fine if teams put him there. I love him at guard. If they push him to right guard, I think he'll blow it up there. So that's where I'm at on that. But at the moment, I'm starting off with him at right tackle, and we'll see where it takes us. So that's what I've got on Jennings Dunker. Shane, back to you.
Well, I agree with a lot of what both of you said, and one of the points Austin brought up, asking did I do some research on the responsibilities of him gaining. He talked about it this year that literally the Iowa nutritional staff had to make a 10,000 calorie diet for him to keep him on pace because he loses so much weight during the games. I think Austin's dead on. This is a guy that really has the body of a tight end. He should be walking around at like 6'5", 245 or something like that. And then at that size, you go, wow, he's really strong for what he is. The fact that he balloons up to like 330 to try to play against these guys actually kind of, I think, hurts him in this way because you talked about the pulling bend and kind of that movement around. Austin talked about, not getting to the edge rushers. The thing for me is that's a footwork thing when I watch the film. And I think the footwork isn't as bad if he's lighter. I think he's carrying around more weight than what he really wants to. But to play in that Iowa run game, that's what they do. They take guys that are 2, 3 star tight ends. They play both sides of the ball in high school. You get them in the Iowa program, you redshirt them a year, and then all of a sudden they gain 45 pounds in a summer. And then the next year you see them, they're 320, they're ready to play right tackle. I think the footwork hurts him. Like I said in the beginning, I think the Gray Zabel being able to make the move from a tackle at a lower level to the inside game and playing at a high level, I think he does a great job latching on. I think when you get him out in space, that's where the difficulty happens. And like I said, I think it's a footwork thing. The guy that comes most to mind for me had a successful career in Tampa Bay, probably could have played longer than he wanted. It is Ali Marpet, a guy that went from Division III to that and made the exact move that Austin's talking about. That's a move from a tackle into the center. I do think that center, because by all the interviews the guy does, from what his teammates have said, from what Iowa coaches have said, this is an extremely intelligent guy. Has a good personality, plays along with the media, knows that mullet plays, knows that the mustache plays, like understands he needed to do some other things to get his name out there more than other people. I think the farther he goes inside, I think the better he looks. Now, it's hard to be a programmed right tackle and have the NFL take you seriously. Because what they do now is they take guys that don't test as well as a left tackle but played there before. They move them to right tackle and think that that's a perfectly okay scenario, which we've seen fail time and time again in the NFL and normally gets guys cut. But I think, like Austin said, I move him inside. I think his number one play strength, and I think if a team picks him up this year, you're going to see him at right guard, just like you said, Ben. But I think the best position for him might be center, like Austin said. You like you mentioned, I was very high on him on the film that I had done the year before. I actually think by having a better running quarterback and a quarterback that played a little bit less, it actually hurt his tape, because there's a lot of times where he's moving around trying to protect the quarterback for what they allowed him to do, and it makes it look like he misses a lot of blocks, and he didn't necessarily miss those blocks. But unless you're paying attention to where the quarterback's moving around, you're like, oh man, he ran right into that, defensive end. Then you go, okay, maybe that's not so much on him. It's a quarterback not stopping and thinking he has a little bit more time than he really does. I think the positive traits are going to push him far. But I would think he'd be super happy late second, early third, for him to come off the board. This is going to be one of those ones there. If you get a run of tackles and you get somebody that's in love with him, I think he comes off the board earlier than him waiting around. He's not going to be a guy that you wait around for. Somebody's going to go, hey, he's going to check all the boxes we need him to, and we can put him somewhere. Whoever gets Jeff Stoutland to agree to come out of his somewhat retirement slash firing with the Philadelphia Eagles, I think he would absolutely love the coach.
Shane, great work. We expected it on the offensive lineman. Austin, you get the final word, man.
Yeah, he came in with a third round grade for me. I think his flexibility to play multiple positions is going to help him in the draft because there are going to be teams who are like, well, we don't really like him as a tackle, but we'll take him in the third as a guard. And there's going to be teams who are like, hey, I think he's a pretty good tackle. We'll take him in the third as a tackle. But we don't think he'll move to guard very well. I think like you'll see a lot of that. And because he's able to do that, I think he will end up going probably in the early third, just because someone will like him enough at one position or the other. And I think being able to play both really just extends that range or moves that range up a little farther. Yeah, overall, really solid prospect. He's another one of the older prospects. I think he just turned like 23, so that's another reason that I'm not super into it, but that doesn't phase me as much when it comes to offensive linemen as it does
Mm-hmm.
more of the skill positions. For like quarterback and linemen, age generally like helps because it's just more reps. But obviously upside, the younger you get a guy, the more you can mold him into what you want and the maybe career longevity. But when you're looking at a guard, careers aren't super long, or tackle careers aren't super long anyways, unfortunately for these guys. So I'm not as worried about the age.
Austin, Shane, really appreciate the work tonight on Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. All of you watching, thank you very much. We've got a lot of prospects already out. We're going to keep pumping them out until right before the draft. So even about 2 weeks before the draft, we'll still be putting out our last couple of prospects this way. So stay tuned to that. Also, we have several mock drafts out for individual teams. I don't know if we'll get to all 32 or not. I trotted out one by myself. I've done what I think 7 or 8 with each of you guys so far. So we're up around 7 or 8, 8 or 9 total. We'll keep pumping them out. So everybody have a great one and goodbye.